You're listening to Shooting the Breeze with Byron A. Lloyd. Dick.
I'm really rich.
All right, this is Shooting the Breeze with your man, Byron A. Lloyd. He is high, I'm him, I'm that pretty fly white guy. Me and Officer Todd Gray, man, we've been talking, we're good friends, we talk all the time. We're talking about guns, and Todd's also a gunsmith, man. It's like the dude works 22 hours a day. He's gunsmithing or he's patrolling. But he was just telling me about a guy who got a DWI and wasn't able to buy a gun, but yet this dude gets investigated twice by the FBI and somehow gets to buy an assault rifle and a pistol a week ago. You agree, Todd, there should be some type of system in place to stop something like that, right? You would think.
There are things in place in certain areas, and I'd love to know how it worked, because if there was a failure somewhere, which I'm sure there is,
right,
we need to figure it out.
Right.
But this tells me two things. Number one, if they have a system in place, it doesn't work. Number two, if you have a system in place of investigating and making sure people coming into this country aren't criminals or terrorists or will hurt somebody, I got to question that system too.
Right. And the fact that this dude was an American citizen, and they said both times they questioned him. One time it was because he worked at a security company, and he was telling all his coworkers that he had terrorist ties, which is a crazy thing to do anyway. That right there should be all kind of red flags, even if he was lying, you know what I mean, with him being Middle Eastern. And I hate to say it's profiling, but in this situation, it's not profiling when it seems to be Muslims doing all the terroristic shit, you know what I mean? But the fact that he also got interviewed because he knew a white guy who converted to Islam and become a become a mujahideen or a jihadist over in Yemen. That right there, you would think would give him some type of attention to where there was a red flag where he couldn't just go buy an AR-15. You know, man, I don't know if I'm sure this is bigoted, but I would never own a gun store, but if I did, and Omar wanted to come in there and buy assault rifles, man, that might make me wonder about Omar. You know what I mean? At least try to triple check him. Am I right?
Well, there are only two industries left. Well, let me say this first. I don't care who you are. I love America.
Right.
And I don't care if you're male, female, if you can't choose between the two. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you are. If you want to come here and be an American citizen, I'm going to do everything I can to help you until you decide that you want to kill Americans and tear down America.
Right.
Yeah, that's to me a problem, and I don't care. That doesn't have anything to do with any group. It has to do with a person's actions.
Right.
Now, there are only two industries left in the world, or at least in the United States. There are only two things left that you can do in the United States where they can't get mad, they can't call your boss, they can't call the NAACP, they can't call the ACLU, they can't call, and these are just groups that like to get after people.
Right, they're litigious, they like to sue, cause lawsuits, right.
Yeah. If you walk into a bar, a bartender or a liquor store owner has the absolute right to refuse a person for any reason.
Right.
If they feel that's going to the wrong place, or they feel a person's, intoxicated, they have an absolute right, and I believe a moral responsibility to say, no, I'm not doing this.
Right.
I'm fortunate in where I'm at, the owners there, we kind of put our heads together, and in the gun industry, I have an absolute right to say, hey, I don't like this, I'm not comfortable with it, I'm not cool with this, we're not doing the sale. I don't care what color, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. My owners are, they're really, really good about that, to the point that I don't have total discretion, but I can tell you I can walk through that store and tell you I don't like the look of somebody or somebody that's with somebody.
Right.
And if I've got any questions, I'll kill a sale in a heartbeat. I don't care who's already working on the sale. I'll walk up to them and I'll signal to them, and that's it. So. Right.
Well, that's one thing why I thought you'd be the perfect guest. Because first of all, man, you're a sensible, intelligent dude. But you can see it from both aspects, being a gunsmith, working in a gun store. You know about selling guns to people, and you see it from a law enforcement standpoint, and you see the damage of guns and illegal guns. You know what I mean? So you got a real unique background. You know what I'm saying? It makes you the perfect guest for this subject, I think.
Well, you know, and he's been arrested. This has been all over. There's one of our quote frequent flyers from Madison who was in Far City and graduated the big boy school, and they got him this past week with possession of cocaine with intent to deliver, possession of marijuana. He had a gun with a filed off serial number.
Right.
I promise you he didn't buy it in the store.
Right.
There are some things that we're going to have to learn that there are things involved in our society we're just going to have to get over.
Right. Now I know where you're going with this, and I agree with you, because people don't realize legally there's 8 guns for every citizen of the United States. And this is actual stats. But there's probably twice as many illegal guns out there with filed off serial numbers that's been bought or stolen or stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying. There's the freedom of owning a gun or the freedom to be able to protect yourself comes with the price, and the price is stuff like what happens in Orlando. You know what I mean? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that, right?
Well, what I'm saying is that if a bad guy has an opportunity to get something to hurt your family,
right?
No, I don't think everybody in America needs to have a machine gun and a bazooka and a flamethrower in their house.
Right.
But if a bad guy has the ability to show up at your house with a gun, shouldn't you have the ability to get a gun to protect you and your family? And I think you have that. I think you should have that.
Right, I believe that.
I'm really upset right now over the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in California decided this week that the Second Amendment allows you the right to bear arms, but doesn't allow you to carry a gun, because, you know, California is very restrictive.
Right, well, but what's the point of having it if you can't tote it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and their point is you have to be able to show some special circumstance as to why you are at risk before you can carry a gun.
Right, like you work at a bank or, you know, something like that, some type of job that can put you at risk, right?
How many unarmed citizens today in California are being killed every day by bad guys with illegal guns bought on the street?
Oh, quite a few.
That is an inherent danger. I didn't get to argue that. I'd love to have been up there to argue that.
Right.
I think they're wrong.
Well, like I said, people mistake me for being anti-gun all the time, and I'm not anti-gun. I'm not making it so easy for nuts jobs or some crazy militant angry dude to get a gun. And I think there's sensible things we could try, because people think once you make one law to make it harder for somebody to get a gun, that all of a sudden they're going to come take your guns. The government's going to come take your guns. But some people don't need assault rifles. You should have to have a special permit. Because like you know, and I know because I was in the military, I know what kind of dangerous, you know, what kind of damage they do. And not everybody needs one. Just like a high capacity magazine. If you can't hit somebody within 10 bullets, Todd, I don't think you need a bigger magazine than that. You know what I'm saying? 100 bullets. Unless you had a special license or you were the police. Because you're not going to overthrow the government. You know, you always hear these rednecks going, you need your AR-15 in case you got to overthrow the government. But you got to overthrow the government with a bunch of AR-15s. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Let me explain. Let me say this.
All right.
If there were a way that they were never out there,
right,
that's one thing. But that would be like banning cars that don't get 30 miles to the gallon.
Right.
We can't do it. They're already out there.
Right.
Anybody who wants one can have one. And I go back to, if a bad guy can get it to do it, shouldn't you as a citizen have the ability to get what you
I can get behind that so far, but as far as on the assault rifle, I don't, because I know if you take care of your weapon, it'll last for years.
Tell me what is an assault rifle?
Hey son, hold on 1 second, man. Gotta kill this air conditioner. I would say AR-15, SKS, AK-47, any of those Stigs, H&P, you know, one of them little mini submachine guns, them little H&P that the SWAT like to use. What are they, MP9s or something like that?
Well, answer this for me. What makes that weapon an assault weapon?
Because they were designed for war and to kill people. There was no hunting intent. That's the way I look at them. that they were designed strictly for war to kill people. There was no intent to hunt or sport or to target shoot. And I know you can do all those with an assault rifle. I'm just saying they were designed mostly for war, primarily for war. You know what I mean?
Okay. Or for defense. They're designed. Then their design is primarily to be as some type of offensive.
Right. Exactly. An offensive weapon. Right. Right.
Let me ask you a question. Are you? See, here's my only issue with the term assault weapon. To me, it's like when people walk into the gun store. I have people walk in all the time, and they say, "Oh, I need a clip for my high point." Well, first of all, it's not a clip; it's a magazine.
Right, it's a magazine.
Second, if you've got a high point, I got a question as to why. Why would you? Well, high points either work or they don't. But there are a bunch of Cobras and Ravens, things like that.
Right.
Really quick, I start to question certain things.
Right.
But the term assault is that assault is an action.
Right. I can see where you can say it gives it a bad name or bad connotation. So you know what I mean? Like, a rifle's a rifle.
I can get a high-capacity magazine for almost any type of semi-automatic or a lot of bolt-action rifles. We know the DC sniper, the case of the DC sniper.
Right.
Okay. He was firing one single round at a time.
Right.
Never opened, never turned, never had just a rapid fire. Killed a lot of people.
Right.
To the pair of the father side.
Accuracy's a son of a bitch.
Yeah, but when we look at you even look back to the shooting in Texas.
The psychiatrist.
There.
Oh yeah, the old one. What's his name? Charles Whitman.
Yeah. Think about this. We have made terms around the acts that are committed with objects.
Right, I get you. They're objects.
And what we're doing, or what I fear we're doing, I understand the term assault rifle.
Right, because I guess that become the cliche terminology because you're assaulting a beach or you're assaulting some type of enemy position. You know what I mean?
But let's if we're going to use that term, then let's agree that assault is first of all an action taken by a person.
True.
And they can do it with a knife, a hammer,
a rock.
If you look at the crime statistics before the quote assault weapons ban in 1994,
right.
Look at how many weapons were banned, and tell me how many of those were used in crimes before that ban was put into place. Not
many, but since then, like you said,
not many. That's right, not many.
Right.
So now
that's all they're using.
Claim on an object. Now we've put the seed into people's heads. Oh, these are the bad weapons. Well, a bad guy says that's the weapon I want.
I never thought about it, hey, dude. That's why you're out here, dude. I've never thought about it like that. Just like people don't realize in countries where drugs are legal, they usually have a lower user rate because a lot of times people are just dumbasses. They want to use hard drugs just because they're illegal. You know what I mean? Just because they're the badass drugs. Or you hear about people getting heroin that kills them. They say, when they get a bad batch of heroin or a super strong batch and people OD on it, that the heroin junkies go looking for exactly the killer shit. Because they want the killer shit, you know what I mean? Just like in a gun.
They want the good stuff. Criminals don't operate in the world we do.
Right.
I consider myself a pretty right-wing Christian, very conservative type guy.
I can vouch for that.
You would be surprised some of the more left Democratic ideas that a lot of right-wing Republicans would support.
Right.
It's just we know that either the people that would be affected, either it would lead people to do more wrong, or there are no checks and balances in the system to prevent the abuse it would cause. We've allowed this for way too long.
Well, just like
that a weapon is an assault weapon
Right.
Okay, yeah, hey, y'all carry them Uzis, or I want this.
I never thought about it like that. That makes perfect sense. I've never thought about it like that. But yeah, once you hear assault rifles, the shit to have, that they're banning them, well, obviously they must be awesome. So if I'm going to do some awesome damage or do something awesomely insane, I want the awesome weapon. You know what I mean? I never thought about it like that.
There is a time coming, or it's here, but unfortunately, we've laid the groundwork for, and I hate to say it's going to be the Wild Wild West, but we've laid the groundwork for, at some point, you may have to defend yourself. If you call 911, you ask anybody where I work, I am known for driving like a bat out of hell. I will get there. I will bring whatever. I'm going to come. I'm gangbusters as fast as I can.
Right.
But if I'm 2 minutes away and a man is coming through your door, I'm too far away.
That's true.
Agree?
Yeah, I agree totally. Yeah.
You may have to defend yourself.
Right.
Case in point, Lisa's not in the room, so I want to talk about this for a minute while she's not in the room.
She's listened to the show though, because she's done messaged me twice, asking me about the link.
She's on the phone right now. So
okay.
I know she's on the phone.
She'll hear this later to be played.
Her ex-husband.
That's psychopath, right? Yeah.
Nobody saw it coming, did they?
No, they didn't.
Okay, nobody saw it coming. And look at, and I don't say this to judge the response of anybody there. I'm saying this. You call 911. You have to defend yourself for how long?
Right.
You're a good person that's never thought this would happen. We're just, if we laid out, I forget her name. She was, I saw her on CNN or something, and I couldn't believe she said it. She's somebody up in Washington or somewhere.
Right.
She said, what we need to do, we need to ban guns. We need to say we're going to lay down our weapons, turn them all in, and then when the criminal wants to do us harm, he will see that we've said, we're not going to do this with weapons.
Oh, that's some dumb shit. Yeah.
And I thought, my God,
that's retarded.
That person drug tested.
Yeah.
Because a person who's going to do you harm is going to do you harm.
Whether you got a weapon or not, right?
Travis, Lisa's brother, Travis.
Right.
Good a guy as you'd ever want to meet.
Yes, he is. Got shot 9 times. What did I?
I'm trying to put together an officer survival class now, and I want him to talk at that. And the reason being, very, very, very few people have the perspective that he has.
Oh, yeah.
This is a man who had to survive this. You calling for help, but nobody's coming.
Right. You're too far gone. You're too far out there by yourself.
When a bad guy, we as a country should not have to prepare for war on our soil, but we are also divided as a country. We have people that we have friends whose friends or family members have chosen to do things that are wrong. They're contrary to society.
Right.
And because of this, tragedies have occurred. We had one a few weeks ago. They haven't released the final findings. I'm not going to get deep into it, but a man run from the sheriff's department.
Right.
And I heard all the accusations. I heard all of how.
And I talked to another deputy the other day that I went to school with, know him real well, and we talked about it. He said the exact same thing you did, and you know him very well.
Well,
I ain't gonna say their names. TW.
They're going to look into this, and it's a tragedy. And I don't always agree with everything a lot of these elected leaders say around here.
Right.
But I thought that it was well put and well said. Sheriff got on TV and he said, this is a tragedy, but he brought this upon himself.
He did.
Now, let's think about this with guns for a moment. If I'm a police officer,
right,
I'm going to have a gun with me. I'm on duty, I've got a gun with me. The only place that I don't carry a gun is a lodge. I think that's pretty much common knowledge. I'm not giving anything away.
Is where?
The lodge, the Masonic Lodge.
Oh, the Masonic Lodge. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
That's the only place I don't carry a gun. Now, that being said, there are people who would do me harm, but they know I have a gun.
Right.
I have a gentleman right now who's making threats. He's going to get me. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. You know, that's fine because I have news for you. You know, I have no animosity towards you. Business is business. But don't come to me to take me away from my family and my friends, because you'll make a decision and I'll have to act on your decision.
Right.
I'm not making that decision.
Right. You're making a decision by your actions. He's making it. And you know what I mean? All you can do is react. If that cost him his life, he made it that way. You know what I'm saying?
We're working on affidavits now to pick him up over a shooting. No one got hit, but several witnesses saw him firing a gun.
Right.
Now, I know where the gun came from, and he didn't buy the store. Tell me what gun law is going to prevent him from having that gun.
Right.
I'll tell you what is on the books. There's a neat little federal law that says, and you flood the prison. But why don't we find these college kids that went to jail over weed or something
Silly, right?
Why don't we worry about the people with the gun? You know, Travis is sitting over here now raising a family.
Right. And he got shot. I want to say this before you say anything real quick. He was shot like 9 times or 9+ times, and he was shot with the exact same weapon that guy had in Orlando, AR-15. Am I right? Or was it a Mini-14?
He was shot with, I believe, an AK and a .40 caliber handgun.
Right. God, dog. That's 7.62 millimeter, kids. If y'all don't know how big an AK is, that's a big shell.
10 times, and let me throw you this.
That's unbelievable.
It was 10 times with a .40 caliber. Let me tell you, this is what he did. After he ran out of ammo, after Travis didn't have any ammo anymore,
right?
You know what he did?
What?
He was in a truck trying to distract him after he'd already been shot.
Right.
To distract the shooter.
Right. He was trying to draw fire. Right. Oh, go ahead.
If you ever saw pictures of the truck, it's Swiss cheese. I want to tell you something. I'd like to see somebody go and ask him what his thoughts on gun control are, because I consider Travis to be a very well-adjusted.
Oh, he is. You'd never know he was.
Guy.
You'd never know he was in such a tragedy.
By the way,
right?
There are anybody who's involved in a tragedy like this. I'm not sure that you ever get over things.
Oh no!
But it's amazing to see people go on and live their lives in spite of the things that have been forced upon them.
Look, we both love Lisa. I love her like a sister I never had. And, you know, Lisa still has down moments, and she's going to, you know what I mean, until she don't draw another breath. And I'm sure Travis is. And people who are not, Lisa come on here. The first time I think I really ever met Todd, we talked because Todd and Lisa are a couple, and I talked to him before he let Lisa tell the story about the tragedy that happened to her family when her ex-husband was a psychopath and tried to kill her whole family. Because Todd wanted to talk to me to make sure that I was going to be respectful. You know, I wasn't just some jackhole trying to just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying,
I remember talking to you, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was making sure I was going to be respectful. I just wasn't some jackhole that was going to harp on the tragedy or the carnage or anything. But Lisa wanted to tell me that, I was going to let her tell her story just because it's a 1 in a billion shot and God forbid nobody has to go through something like that. But the fact that if you knew Travis, he's such a nice guy, well-adjusted guy, that you would never know that he'd been through that tragedy, except maybe if you saw a scar or something. But he's in the construction business and he's good at it. So that just shows you how far he's overcome. He took .40 caliber bullets, 9 of them or 11 of them to the body, and still managed to be a carpenter. That's incredible, dude. That he can even walk or talk. You know what I mean? That's incredible.
Well, and then, you fast forward to today.
Right.
A person. Now, I'm not saying a religion, a color, a race. A person.
Right.
Chose it upon himself to affiliate himself with people who have said their intentions are to cause terror and cause harm
Right, trying to take over the world, cause a caliphate, trying to take over the world, a worldwide caliphate.
If here he is, he's gone, and he shows up and he does this thing. Are things that we need to look at certain systems? Yeah, we do. We also need to look at why are these people? Why are we tolerating this?
Right.
And now, when I mean tolerating this,
you talking about death penalty?
Well,
expedited,
today I watched
expedited.
Pearl Harbor today.
You watched what?
Pearl Harbor today.
Right.
Okay. I've watched a lot of movies. I've watched a lot of documentaries.
Me too, on World War II and wars. I'm big on that myself.
On September, or not September 11th, because I'm sitting here watching I'm doing the air traffic control from September 11th.
Right.
I've been reviewing all that.
That's insane.
But
they're running, that's a whole other story. Go ahead.
But on December 7th, 1941, and we were in a different place in time, and we as a country were different people.
Right, for sure.
But we came together.
Like never before, right.
We made some bad decisions, and we made some good decisions. But we made the decision that America was never going to let that happen again.
Right. And see, that's a lot of things people harp on. You know, the Japanese, like we were talking before we got online or got on air, the Japanese internment camp was horrible. But at that time, nobody's perfect. You're going to make good decisions with the bad in a crisis situation, but decisions have to be made. You know what I mean? And not all of them are going to be perfect. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it was right. Okay.
Right.
But at the time, number one, I'm obviously the bearer of my own problems. I have no place to judge anybody for their actions.
Right.
But number one, we didn't have systems in place. We didn't have the technologies we do today. I understand today's hesitation because we look back at that and go, hey, it's wrong to lock 100,000 people up because there was one person and 100,000 people that was going to do somebody wrong.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd agree with it.
Okay. If you agree with that, do you think it's wrong to penalize the larger group for the actions of a smaller group?
Right. Well, let me say it's funny because me and my son just had this discussion, and I was trying to explain with him. He was talking about how people keep wanting to harp that it's Muslims and Muslims. And, you know, he was basically saying hate is hate, Daddy. And I had to agree with him. And I said, why they want to keep harping on religion. And I explained to him, you know, a few bad apples will spoil the bunch, and that's what you got. You know what I mean?
The actions of one person shouldn't affect the other 100,000.
Right.
We should go out and do what we need to do.
Right, that's exactly right.
We have a responsibility in society to be responsible and upright citizens.
Right.
That being said, tell me where me being an upright and responsible citizen, not being able to walk into a store to get whatever I want, and first of all, the market's saturated with AR-15s.
They are saturated.
There are so
everywhere.
It's not even funny.
Right, everybody makes a version. That is true, but people don't know nothing about guns. They AR-15 is basically a semi-automatic M16, and now every arms company there is makes a version of one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There it is. You can get them. You can get them in every available configuration.
Right, you get them pink if you want with your name on it.
You've been around Forest City for a long time.
Right.
We've got some, like every other town in America, we've got some problems in this town.
Right.
Do you know what we started telling people in Madison?
What's that?
We told them.
At least you don't live in Forest City?
You dial 911, okay?
Right.
And you keep them on the phone and you talk to that operator, and we're coming. Okay?
Right.
But if a man, remember the Girl Scout rule, if somebody breaks in your house and they know you're there,
right,
they're not there to sell you Girl Scout cookies. You do what you got to do. I'll deal with it when I get there.
Right, that's the way it should be.
I'm watching him, I can't stop him.
Hey, Tyler, I hate to cut you off real quick, but we're down to the last 13 seconds. what it is I will stop. We'll start another segment after a 5-minute break. But let me go ahead and say this is Shooting the Breeze with your man, Byron A. Lloyd. Me and Officer Todd Gray. We're discussing Orlando. I'll be back.